is Loving versus Virginia. It has to do with the ban on interracial marriages. And this is a graph, and it kind of gives you an idea of how, like, people were, like, the attitude towards interracial marriage at the time that this was, like, made. So you can see that a lot of countries, or a lot of states, like, didn't have interracial marriage legalized. So it dealt with laws on interracial marriage in 1967, and it's considered a landmark case for civil rights in the U.S. because it made such a big difference on this huge issue that was, like, really prevalent at the time. So it's going backwards, or it's going forwards. Never mind.
You're good?
Yeah. So anti-miscegenation laws were laws prohibiting interracial marriage of any kind in the U.S. that had been enacted since the 18th century. And the preceding cases, like, that kind of had to deal with that issue. The main one was Pace versus Alabama, and it was the first one that kind of said that people could not get married who were of different races. And at the time, the countries with the red were the ones that could not have interracial marriage. And it was only until World War II that people really started actually trying to change it and think about it. So the plaintiffs involved were Richard Perry Loving, a white man, and Mildred Dolores Loving, who was half black and half Native American. And they married in 1958 in Washington to evade Virginia's interracial marriage laws. And someone anonymously tipped off a place in Virginia that the couple were married, and they were invaded in the middle of the night in the summer of 1958. Even though they tried to use their marriage license to say that it was okay for them to be living together, the police refused this, and it was actually used as evidence later in the case. And they were charged under Section 2058 and Section 2059, which prevented couples from marrying out of state and moving back, and couples being married like Al, and it was considered a felony. So in 1964, Mildred wrote to an Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy, and she said that the ruling that they had was unconstitutional and immoral, and he